and welcome to the program. Oh, so official. What's up, Kelly?
Hi, how are you?
My name is Carrie Bradshaw, and this is Samantha. The reason we say that is because, we do an episode. Usually there is some kind of tie in to either a television show, like a recap, which is how the origins of this show was. If you loved Hulu's Difficult People, you should know that we recapped every episode, all 28, including having Shakina and also Julie Klausner on with us. So we have pretty much 28 episodes like that. And then we've got 45 in total, which is just like fun, goofy pop culture hot takes that are from our perspective. We're the same age, we found out, and we've also known each other for 20 years. Okay, but now to business. Kelly, how do we break this down? What does this episode represent? New York City for sure, vacationing for sure, and also being together instead of podcasting in a cube like we usually do.
Yeah, I mean, it's been about 7 years probably since we've been in the same room together, if not longer than that. I can't even remember the last time because I don't think we hung out when you moved back to LA from New York. I think the last time we were actually hanging out was when you still were living in New York. So this was kind of like a coming back together, reuniting, and like a city we used to have so much fun in. So I really loved that about this trip, and it was so spur of the moment, last minute. It was just like, hey, I'm going to be in New York. Well, you know what? Hey, I'm going to meet you there. Let's go see what we can get into. So
We should flex and floss for just a second because we both had, and this is true. This is, I mean, I cannot turn down the idea that people love us, right? We both, what was great about this, Kelly, you could agree, we both had like pleasure was what the trip should be. I mean, not like, not like sexual pleasure. God, no.
make that clear from the jump.
Yeah, never gonna happen, Kelly. No, but we had like the trip was about pleasure and excitement and like you seeing your cousin, all these things. But we both had a little bit of like a business reason to be in the city. I've lived in New York on and off 7 years. I always feel like I got a foothold in there anyway. And I really agree with what you said. It magically just became something that we were like, I'm going this date, and you were like, I'm going this date, and I almost didn't know if we should do an episode about this because I'm like, is that too inside? Like, our episodes are usually talking about this or talking about that, but today I feel like we are the stars of this show. So yeah, that's what I got. What was your favorite thing about seeing me? I know I'm high in demand. People love me. Millions of people love me. They just haven't watched this podcast, which I'm pissed about. But when they do, were you really happy to see me? Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always a great time to see you in person, and it's also like really motivating, it kind of lights a fire in a different way for me just to get excited about things that I might have been kind of lulling on, if that makes any sense. But just kind of, one of the things that I loved about our energy when we were younger was that it was always like, what's something cool we can do next? Like just getting in that driven mindset. And as you kind of step away from that day to day and things can get kind of slow, kind of repetitive, kind of like blah. So it just really kind of gave me a little bit of a push that I needed to kind of jump back into that mindset that I've been wanting to get into and kind of not be, for lack of a better thing, be so lazy. I feel like I've been kind of lazy mentally. And then like I look at myself and like my eyes are puffy, like all these things are going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on with me? So I'm going to warn you guys now, when you look at some of these videos of us in New York, my eyes are like 5 times bigger than they are right now. It's like the different class. I feel like I've been living in a bubble. Like I go to a new place and like my allergies are going crazy. My eyes are puffy. It's just like, it's not my best look, but whatever. I
What
felt really great.
what is it that in that where you travel when you were in your 20s, like you could kind of hold up everything is still okay, yet when you travel at our age, like the bloatedness is going to happen because your digestion's a little bit off with the eating. Your face is going to look puffy. I mean, I guess you have that when you're like in the post what would that be, like the early college era, you have
Yeah.
that a lot too, but usually you grow out of it. But no, once you get back to 40 plus, which we're in our early 40s, by the way.
So
um
yeah.
I think it like just kind of jumps up. One note, just because I feel like a cornball, we started the episode and I'm actually recording at a friend's place. So I was kind of multitasking. I was talking just so if anyone thought it was corny, a second ago that I had my earbud, my
I didn't
earbud
even notice.
always started there. Look at the. I mean, I'm beautiful and all these things, but okay. So now now I'm back to professional. Can I talk about the problem? I threw up on the. I threw up, and and I have the culprit.
Can I just
Yeah.
say, at least now I'm not the only one that threw up. I'm just pissed I wasn't there to record it.
Oh God, we got to get to the ending of your trip. It has a weird ending too, and I don't know how much we're gonna give. Like personally, like there's just so much stuff. But what I will give is that I did throw up. So we have a live photo of while I threw up. So we'll play that for you. Just a photo here. So this is the setting. Is I had a really great, like I said, a work endeavor. We'll just keep it general here, and it was like a great day. I know that Kelly, you had different plans, so you're gallivanting throughout the city. So our intention is to meet up sort of in the evening. And we do, and it's exciting. We don't know what we're gonna do. We had a great night the first night. Oh, remember when the lady fell? I forgot about that. I should put that video up. We're not going to do it,
No, we're not going to
but
do
just know that we
that.
went the first night we were in town. We stayed up till 4 in the morning. We went to a piano bar, and a lady decided, even in her a little bit more bigger stature, she decided she was going to step on a cushion that was, wobbly. And in the meat and potatoes of her song, right when she was getting to the big moment, she fell. It was quite interesting. We'll leave it at that.
Oh,
Anyways, back to
but I have to say she got up and finished that song. So kudos to her.
we
Because
should
she
maybe
did.
we
No.
should maybe tease that we maybe one day, if we could blur the face, play the video, because we want to be respectful. But it was funny. If I had a more vicious side to me, I would be posting that and it would be viral, and then all of a sudden difficult podcasters would be succeeding. But no, we have good morals, and we're gonna
No, we
grow it
can't do
step by
it. We
step.
can't do it.
Okay, back to the throw up. Do we call it throw up, vomit, or yakking? What do you call it?
None of it. Back to the stuff.
Oh, is throwing up something you don't like to talk about, like farts and pooping?
No, I don't.
I don't like overuse like poop jokes and fart jokes. I do agree, but I literally did throw up in New
No, you
York
did, yeah.
on that Friday, and it felt like it was coming on, which is so funny because we went to the Dwayne Reed, because I was like, I know I need like hydration or something like that.
Mhm.
The day before we had ate pizza. The day before we had done this, which might I add, I was talking to a friend and I was telling him that, I had threw up, and he literally, Kelly, you're not going to believe this. He literally, I sound like Penny from Year of the Penny. Happy Endings, look it up. I literally had him, he was like, oh yeah, last time I was drinking bad, I had this thing called 21, and now we're shading 21 Seeds, the brand, 21 Seeds, this thing here. And he was like, oh, I had it, and it was this jalapeno one, and I threw up. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the exact same thing that I had that made me feel sick. So 21 Seeds, I gotta say, you'll probably never sponsor our podcast, but that that's okay. There's others out there. So they made me throw up this drink, and it might have been about bad sleep, Kelly, and waking up early because I had to go to a specific project that I was working on within radio, and that had me up at like 5 in the morning or something like that, 4:30
Ronnie
even.
just couldn't hang. That's the bottom line.
You're calling me a pussy, basically. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? Then I'm gonna give it to you. So we happen to have a live photograph of me on 14th Street, throwing up.
Stop.
Yeah, you could see on the garment I have that's pizza coming back up because we had pizza the night before.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, so that happened. Quite embarrassed. Now here is where it gets sticky. And Kelly, you could tell me what you think. Kelly well, again, we're not giving all the personal information, but I believe Kelly also got a little bit sick too. Do you think I got you sick? Obviously, my trip in New York is more like me coming back for 20 days or whatever. And I'm also looking to stay in another spot, so I might actually not leave New York. I love it. I'm here now, all the things, and I lived here, so I love to be back. You were only in town for a couple days. When you left, did you get sick? A, and then B, do you think I am the reason you got sick?
You absolutely got me sick, and yes. But I think, yes, it was Ronnie's fault always. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I didn't like fully get sick, but I was a little nauseous and I just couldn't sleep, and it could just, be from traveling. It's the first trip I've taken since COVID. So it was the first time I'd been on a plane. And I normally do get motion sickness when I fly. I just used to fly all the time. Then it eventually didn't bother me as much. But I hadn't flown in a few years. So it could have been like all the things. But then New York was trying to keep me, which I'm not mad about. But
Mhm.
my flight got delayed like 700 times. And I
Yeah.
finally made it to the state of Texas.
Mm.
And luckily, I have family that loves me so much that my uncle came out and drove to pick me up where in Houston and bring me back to Austin
I
because I
wanted to
couldn't get home.
that was such a journey. I mean, you were willing to stay another day. And I'm going to talk about in a minute, going forward here. I'm going to talk about how we had fun when Kelly was here, but I hate to say it, all the real fun started to happen just on accident. That's the way New York goes. Once
Mhm.
Kelly left, I felt like I was sending you photo and video of just all these really cool things, and some of which you sort of had asked for during the time of you being here. But New York is just so funny like that. It doesn't always happen on your time schedule, but then
Mhm.
like all of a sudden I'm at this event and this rooftop, et cetera, et cetera. Meetings here, meetings there, meetings everywhere. And I'm like, oh gosh, if Kelly was still here, you'd be able to be in it. I think
Well,
it's a
see,
good,
I think New York was trying to keep me. It was telling me,
yeah.
so I kept canceling my flights.
Well, let's talk about in a second your possible endeavors within New York. Like, you're a business owner. We'll talk about all that. Actually, before we do anything, here we are rambling, and we should thank our sponsor first. So, Kelly, if you could take it away, let's thank our sponsor, and then we have a lot of not future, but we have more New York City commentary. So, Kelly, let us know who Difficult Podcasters is brought to you by.
Difficult Podcasters is brought to you by Veridian Row, where creativity never goes out of style. So log on to their site, veridianrow.com, or check them out on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the places. They have such a cute array of this is a boutique, so you can create your own stuff. It's more of a creative space. So movie quote t-shirts are my favorite thing. There's
Hmm.
also a whole line of classic cars if you're into cars. They have all kinds of like song lyrics, and also there is a graphic designer on call. So if you have an idea and you want to bring something to life, you can, shoot them a message, get with them, and they can help you create, whether it be a t-shirt, a hat, a mug, a tote, anything like that. Because again, it's more of a creative space, which I love. So, get down and create.
I love that. I always say difficult podcasters is very fortunate because we get to bring this friendship of 20 years. So there's so many stories, lots of stories, lots and lots of stories, as you know, from our 45 episodes previously to this episode. Um, I'm just so thankful that Veridian Row stepped in and saw something special. A lot of times you need to be a household name, a celebrity, a tired reality star, and then the sponsors come in, so to have that love and support does mean a lot. Let's get back into what we feel about that good old New York City, which I don't want to say it in a cheesy way, but are there parts of New York, Kelly, that make you feel like Sex and the City, like the TV show we used to watch, How to Make It in America, maybe the Mindy Project? Like, does it feel like you're living in a little bit of a dream when you walk the streets of New York? And are you inspired for your career? You're a small business owner. You could share how you feel about that.
I've always loved New York. I was honestly a little bit afraid of it the first time that I showed up in the city. I mean, I thought again, like, as you guys know, if you've ever watched any of our episodes, I am originally from Texas. I grew up in a small town, and then, even like moving to Austin and being in a bigger city. But just like you get when you're in Los Angeles, you kind of stay in your little borough, right? Or, you stay in your space and you don't really venture out much. And there's not that many people all in one space. So the first time I went to New York, I was just like run over by people. I was getting anxiety. Like, it was insane. So like the first 2 days I was like, where am I and what is this mess?
What
But
age?
then
What age were you when you first did that?
I think I was probably like, I was in my 20s. So I was in my mid 20s. I might have been like 26,
Hmm.
20, something like that. And it was when I first got into publicity, and I was helping a friend of mine out doing PR, and he was actually going to be on a float in the gay pride parade. So that was my intro to New York, is going and doing that. And it was so much fun.
Hmm.
And after I got over my initial overwhelmed feeling about it, I just fell in love with the pace of it. I love that, you know, the superficialness that you get from being in Los Angeles just doesn't exist there. Everybody is too busy, they don't care about who you are, where you are. They need to get where they're going. The energy is fierce and it's just like go, go, go. And I liked it. Like
Hmm.
I liked that. I liked that you could walk everywhere. I liked that just you could hop on a train, hop in the car, hop in a cab, and just get where you need to go. And
Yeah.
there's so much to see and so much to do in such a small area. So it was so different, but the energy was great. And I've always loved that. So
Hmm.
every time I've gotten to go back, I really enjoyed it. And a few years ago, I took my sister, my family, we went out there, and I really wanted, my sister doesn't go anywhere.
Hmm.
She's the complete opposite of me. She doesn't really like to travel too much. She's a homebody, all that stuff. But I brought her to New York and she loved it, which really surprised me. I mean, she'd make
Hmm.
the perfect New Yorker. Her attitude is on point.
Oh, yeah, she has it.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
she's got that, but like that's just her, and that's what we gotta love about her. But she really loved the city, so she was super jealous that she didn't make it with me on this trip. But I think it is a place where we want to open up a second location to our business.
Mm.
So it's really exciting. So that was kind of my mission to be there, was kind of looking around, looking at the different neighborhoods and really seeing like how the city's changed, what's still around. And I think over by like in the Village and all that is kind of like where I feel like we kind of fit in. And I
Hmm.
was looking at space and sending her videos and she's like, get it, get it, get it.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting and it's really fun. And just like I said, the overall, I think I would go to New York before I went to LA, which is interesting because I lived in LA for like almost 20 years.
Hmm.
But
Well, that's a whole nother conversation, another episode, and I think we'll do LA versus New York. And it's not to leave out, Texas and wherever, Georgia or whatever, Chicago, which I love Chicago, but
Mhm.
LA and New York, they're just such interesting places. But I grew up in Southern California, so to me, there's a lot of aspects of California, or Southern rather. I can't speak to Northern as much. I actually got a big intrigue to one day be successful in radio in Northern California. That's part of one of the vision board moments for me. But California, sometimes I feel like I get a little misunderstood in California. Then when I come to New York, obviously I got my ass handed to me when I first got to New York.
Mhm.
But what I like about it, and that's a good thing, actually. That's what you should do. You should come dollar in a dream, see if you can make it happen. And it's like, if you can withstand, like I said, almost 7 years on and off that I've lived in New York, I've lived here. If you could withstand that, you kind of wake up every day like, let's fucking go. And I think the thing that makes it interesting, this beautiful island of Manhattan, and of course all the other boroughs, it's like, I feel what you get out of it is you get different sides. Like you get the posh, vibrant rooftop, sexy like experiences, by way of our industry. Kelly's worked in PR, I've worked in radio and broadcast and all these things. I feel like I've seen all the beautiful sides of it, but then I've also seen the very authentic and, been in these bars, deep into Bushwick that are, super, I don't want to say janky, but that's like part of the charm too. And I think that's one thing I really, 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 really love about the places I've lived in New York. I've lived uptown and I've also lived in Bushwick, Ridgewood, Queens. I mean, more than that, I've lived in other places too, but I love all these experiences because they are all so different, yet all the same.
Mhm.
Uh, let's see, transitioning into the next thing. Can we briefly do a tease that we did do a little bit of work while we were here too? And when I mean work, it's like, you all who love and support this show. Hi, mom. No, it's like we wanted to make sure that we had a good time and we didn't want to put tons of focus on doing like social media assets, but we wanted to like have fun first. Being out till 4 a.m. was wonderful. but we did do a couple social media things. Can I flash the photo real quick, Kelly, of just a real quick like of what it is, or should we just like
Sure, go for it.
should we just tease them to go to the
No,
thing?
I mean we did. Of course, we were together in the same city at the same time, so we did a
Ooh.
little bit of work. So it's
All right, that's all you
it's
get.
it's fun to see. But we also got some like cool new difficult podcast tees from Variety and Rose, so we were sporting those around town.
Yeah. Oh,
But
we
we
got
did. I mean, we had to. We were together, so we had to do something.
we
But
got a
we also
little
wanted to be present.
we got a little love from Rockstar 12. Hi, randomly Ronnie Jr. Well, and Kelly. Kelly's here with me too. Rockstar 12 is a big supporter of difficult podcasters, and it is so nice to see. And she is such a strong, beautiful woman. Who has been not only supporting. Oh, look at she says hi, Kelly too. Yep, Canley. Oh, you spelled it wrong. Rockstar 12. Okay,
It's fine. I know it's like an autocorrect and all that.
Okay.
But let me say,
Wait.
my co-host. Now, see, she brought it up, so we can transition to that
Okay,
because
well,
my
let's flip
beautiful co-host that has been we've known each other for 20 years, mind you. He says
Sure.
it all the time. We did these fun little videos. He flashed the photo, and on the bottom, Kelly and Ronnie, and he spells Kelly wrong.
Okay.
My co-host spelled it wrong.
Okay, so here's what had happened. Okay,
No,
I'm in the right.
cute.
I'm in the right, Kelly. IE. First of all, I know it's Kelly with an IE because I'm Ronnie with an IE, which I think it is ludicrous for anyone to spell it Ronnie with the Y. But then again, Ronnie with the Y is usually a female. But Ronnie IE, so I get it. And Kelly IE, and I will tell Kelly. And I don't know if Kelly was hot about this because the thing about it is the way I work sometimes is we like finish the project and for me it's done. Never again. I'm not revisiting. And I guess that's kind of a jerk move if there was an error. But what I'm upset about is there has never, and Kelly will tell you, on every email, on every text message, I have me personally have never messed up with Kelly IE. But the damn program that I was using, I suppose, auto-corrected and put Kelly, which is the wrong way to spell it.
You kind of let me with Kelly Taylor. No, didn't we already have that episode?
I was gonna say, if you're Kelly with the Y, you're whack as F because we love Dylan and Brenda. We don't love Dylan and that homewrecker Kelly Taylor, and she's Kelly with the Y. But I will rope around a successful Kelly. Kelly Clarkson, we love. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Kelly,
not all.
Kelly Ripa, we love, but I felt really, really bad about it. But I guess I could just say I'm sorry that it worked out that way. I think at the end of the day, it's part of our branding of difficult podcasters.
Everything is difficult.
I think when we fuck up or I fuck up, well, or you fuck up, it's like it's done so well that it's like, but see, I couldn't tell her anything because I couldn't say, Kelly, just deal with it, because then, you can't, what you should never tell somebody is, it wouldn't bother me, it shouldn't bother you, because it should, I understand that it should have bothered you. Or do you forgive me?
I suppose.
Oh, Rockstar, real quick, let's switch gears for 1 second, unless you got more to that. Rockstar, I must tell you. Let me see, Rockstar wrote, she wrote, haha, sorry. Yeah, it was Rockstar, it was an autocorrect. And listen, Rockstar knows what time it is in terms of our show. Everything is difficult for sure. Rockstar, I don't want to do it to you, but I got to do it to you, okay? It's not bad. But Rockstar, I got to tell you, I think you just stepped into the episode, so I'll reiterate. I was drinking when Kelly and I were together here in New York. I was drinking 21 Seeds with this cucumber jalapeno, and it was so nasty, along with my work schedule, along with eating greasy pizza at I don't know what time. We had went to Neil Patrick Harris at a Broadway show, so we had like a great time, but it was a little too much going on, Rockstar. And I don't want to upset your breakfast, but this was me throwing up on 14th Street. And I could never live it down because I felt so gross. And I just,
I'm sad I missed it, because that is one thing where I would have totally pulled out the phone so we can be even, because of at least you didn't do it all on the show. Like I did it on the show. So at least there's that.
That's right. If you go back to one of our episodes, you could probably see it. It's
No,
titled
it's
pretty well. Go to
terrible.
difficultpodcasters.com. Kelly had a live throwing up. I mean, this is just our show is just so it's like you can't write this shit, right?
Dude, life is difficult, y'all. Like it just is. Like
Hmm.
shit happens all the time. I'm telling you, it's so ridiculous because we're in New York, we're having fun, we're doing these videos, and all this stuff is happening, and we're panning, and you'll see them because we're gonna post them. But there's this one where I'm looking at myself and my eyes are like this big, they're all puffy, it's all just like, what is happening? And it's like, whatever. This is me now. So this, it's not, it wasn't my, best day, but whatever. It's just funny because it's just, you can't make the stuff up. You just can't make it up. It's great. That's what I love about it, is because we can make fun of ourselves. It's never going to be perfect, and I don't even think, when all the big budgets and all that come in, like life is just difficult. We have so much going on.
Yeah.
We just are authentically like stumbling sometimes, and it's just, that's the way life is. But whatever. We had a great time. The city
Mhm.
is fun. The city is great. And I love that we had that opportunity to be able to hang out. And it just really got me thinking about a lot of other stuff that I want to do, and just kind of the energy of it. And it was an anniversary for me because I had been there 10 years prior on the same days. And so when I hung out, I have cousins that live in Jersey, and they came out to meet me, and they reminded me of what was going on 10
Oh,
years
right.
ago when I was there. And it's another difficult kind of scenario because I had
Mhm.
a broken ankle. So I was walking around in a
Mm.
boot. I was working for a Playboy, and it was the time when Hef was going to get married, and the girlfriend had ran off, and she gave this horrible interview on Howard Stern, and I was trying to fix that. And it was just a bunch of mess.
Yeah.
And I love that I got to visit the city without all of that, like
Yeah.
without having that high stress level job. I just got to kind of take it in a way that I never had before.
Yeah.
And
Like
it's just
fun, like
nice.
pure fun, right?
Right. Without being kind of like on edge all the time, because I had to, I had my phone glued to my hand. I was always on emails. It just wasn't that this time.
Mhm.
So even with my flight getting delayed so many times, had
Mhm.
that been me 5-10 years ago, I would have been, I need managers. I would have been yelling at somebody. I would have been in such a horrible mood. And it's just like, my
Yeah.
flight was supposed to leave at 3. We left at 11:30 at night. And I was not even mad about it. Like it was just kind of, oh
The
well.
one beautiful part about that, even though it did suck, is that it did
Mhm.
allow us to be roaming the city a little bit more, like to
Totally.
have
Yeah.
6 more hours together, like I was totally on board because again, my trip is, more closer to 20 days and yours was going to be 3. And I was like, oh God, they're leaving so early, like early.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really cool that I got to have though I was a little tired from the being, I guess, hungover. I was just really happy to have that. And so sometimes yes, really ridiculous, annoying stuff happens to you, but it's how you react, I guess. I don't know why
Yeah.
I'm sounding so motivational today, but I got to tell you, Kelly, you sharing that, I love to see this. This is Rockstar, of course, saying that's me right now, Kelly. We could live different lives and have different like career paths, but it's
Mhm.
relatable. And this is great advice too. You just have to laugh with all the craziness. You
Absolutely.
really do, because it's
Yeah.
like it's overwhelming for sure.
Mhm.
Switching gears real quick, I will say one thing we did, Kelly has stayed in my apartment when I lived up in Harlem. We've been in situations where it's like you almost got to, well, me at least, sleeping on the floor at somebody's place. Like we've done all the, what you do in your
The
20s, but
starving artist stuff.
yeah, we are
Totally.
beautiful, and we still may be starving, but we are beautiful, gorgeous, over 40s. And I feel like it was really nice that we switched it up. Obviously, I've been staying in several locations while I'm out on my trip here. But we stayed kind of in a lavish little situation and did the dream hotel. And I just
Mhm.
feel like sometimes you just need that. You need to be where the where the being is at. You need the excitement. You need to be like, I ain't got no damn money for this extra hotel, because it's obviously above average. I mean, there's a club upstairs, downstairs, and there's Tao restaurant next door. Like it's the spot. And I've worked events here before when I lived in New York, of course. So I've been amongst it and got to see some really cool people. But at the end of the day, you are working and it's a different experience. For us to be able to be staying at the Dream Hotel. I just felt like it really set my trip off in a really good way. Your
Yeah, and
thought?
I've stayed in a lot of great hotels around town, and that is one of my favorites, just because it's the size of the room within itself. And if you've ever stayed somewhere in New York, and whether you went for work or personal, and depending on where you're staying and what's happening, you notice that the average square foot of a hotel room is freaking tiny. And the
Mhm.
thing that I love about the Dream is that it's definitely above average in size, unless you're paying like $1,000 a night or $700 a night, then you get more space. But this was it's a great size room. There's lots of stuff to do, and you don't feel like I remember I stayed at this one hotel that was not cheap, but the room was so small. It was like I had like a little halt, like to walk around the bed to go into the bathroom and to get in. It was just itty
Damn.
bitty.
Okay.
And I don't remember what it was called, but it was in Midtown, and I went for work, and we had, pretty decent budgets to be able to get good hotel rooms. So it wasn't, anything, that was inexpensive, but it was freaking tiny. So I have a little bit of claustrophobia. So I'm always looking at the square footage versus the price. It's like, I need to see how much
Yeah.
room do I have.
You changed. You've been to my apartments. You've been to the one.
Mhm.
I think you spent more time at the one that I really liked. But the one didn't have a closet. It was very small. Only could really fit a twin size bed. And then
Mhm.
the one window was looking at a brick wall. Like it's just so crazy. Like when you're in your dreaming goals, aspirational moments, you're like, I can handle this. This is part of the sacrifice. And it's like I feel like that's maybe we talked about this on one of the past episodes, or I believe how like our work grind culture is just too like tough it out and work 95 hours and you're gonna get to the next step. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes shell out the money, go get a nice hotel, live lavish, and you start to feel good about yourself, and that transcends to your work. Is what I think.
Yeah.
Is
No,
what I
for
think.
sure. You have to kind of like find a good way. Because I remember back in the day, I didn't care as long as I had a place to sleep and shower. Like I was good. Like I didn't care what it
Well,
looked like, where it was, and
we
like
talked about your radio days where you had the gym membership just to shower. Really, I mean, because we would be working these radio gigs in our 20s, and it would be like the club closes at 2. You go have a bite to eat somewhere in Hollywood that happens to be open 24 hours, and then you'd like no, you had to get to the radio station at 6 in the morning. Like it was a lot,
yeah,
and we did
yeah,
it all. And I want to
yeah.
tell you that I hope that if anyone or who loves our show, they know that our perspective is different. We were not just two people that decided to do a show willy-nilly. Like we're literally coming with tons of great stories from back in the day. We're repping our age, even though Kelly's like, you don't have to say it every episode. But I think that's something special. People could relate. The people who had your coming up experiences, going to high school in the 90s could relate.
Mhm.
Having your naughty 20-year-old era, it's at the same time we were all doing that too. So we remember the references, the cultural moments of the time. So I love what we do. Kelly, the only
Mhm.
thing I will tell you, and this just sucks so bad, and we can pretty much wrap from here. Um, it's well, let me play a clip real quick and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Let me. Um, so it was let me see, let me clear that out of there. The only reason I bring up just kind of like this excitement within the city is because Kelly, while we were here, was like, oh, where's this and that and this and that. And it's like, I don't know what it is about New York, but like I think I mentioned this earlier in the episode here. Sometimes you can't just access the things right at the right time, but like they will come. And not that that's the greatest event since sliced bread, but I remember from the time Kelly was here to when you left, I think I had like lunch for free at the Empire State Building. We went to this festival in Bushwick. It's just all these things. There's many more things too that I was texting Kelly about. I'm like, oh my God, I wish you were here with me, because like all of the access, all of the things that you'd like to do suddenly became
Yeah.
available. And Kelly was gone, and I feel so bad. And I feel like New York is like that. You just can't get here and start off and like things happen. You got to kind of
Well,
like
there's so
build
like
it.
if that's what I'm saying. There's so much to do, and I am very happy that I got to like I said, like I got to walk through Central Park, which I haven't done in years. I love going to the Met, so I got to go in there and see some really cool exhibits that they have right now. And I love just kind of getting lost in the art. That was really nice. And I mean, I haven't walked as much as I walked in those like few days in a
Hmm.
long time. And it was really nice. And just going to see everything and spending time with my cousin was really fun because she had even said, "This is the first time that I got to see you without you always being on the phone." Because I
Yeah.
wasn't really on the phone that much at all, because I really got to be present and kind of be, and actually be there, and it was really different, and I really enjoyed it. And it just puts things into perspective, because every once in a while, like I'll miss that kind of like fast pace and all that stuff. But then I think about that and the stress of this and the stress of that and the all the other muck that comes with it. And I'm just so glad that I'm not in that headspace
The
anymore.
muck.
Yes, yes. So it was just overall, I love New York City. I hope that we do eventually have a location in New York, and I think that would be really fun to do. And
You will. You will.
we're gonna make it happen.
And you're gonna manifest it because here's the thing that is really relatable to others. So I always get so gassed up and excited because I met Kelly in radio and she was damn good in that industry too. But she ended up in publicity and like, I mean, I won't speak to the products or the brands she was working with, but we joke about one particular brand that used to be so hot when Kelly worked there, and now we're like, what happened? It's like there's an art to this, and Kelly has already done it. She's already dominated in certain industries. So now when you switch up and go to being a small business owner, it's like weird because you start from scratch and want to get to that dream of, having your small business, have a retail space in New York, but you're starting from scratch. But are you really? You're taking all those skill sets and transferring them to something new. It's daunting. And I've done it too. I've had to pivot out of things that I love and do things that are more on the independent side, and it's really hard. Two bits of thank yous. Well, one thank you and one shady moment coming at Kelly in 1 minute. But before I do that, as a reminder, ViridianRow.com, they support us. They're the label that pays us. No, ViridianRow.com is where you could get all the information. Such awesome one of a kind finds, and of course the quote T-shirts are really cool. So if you even wanted like your quintessential New York City moment, of course they could accommodate that. Go to the Instagram, TikTok, and everything for Viridian Row and find all that. But I do encourage you to go to the website. I'll repeat it one more time. That is ViridianRow.com. Shady moment to Kelly. Are you ready?
Oh gosh.
Okay. We have a thing about this show where, because Kelly and I are so friendly, we could kind of like, dish it back and forth a little bit. So I say so many things with love, but people who just like jump in, they don't like realize all the time how close we are. And what is that international rule? Not international rule, but that common knowledge. If you really rock with the person, you can go there and everyone's like, cool, no one's really sensitive. I think on the phone yesterday, and this was for a work opportunity too. One of my radio friends, Kelly, I'll tell you who it is after, had called me. We had been corresponding for a little while, and he's so busy. His work is really good, and there was an opportunity for me. Rather than answering the phone and saying, hey, such and such, I said, what's up, loser? You make my spleen hurt. Like, it's just, when you got love for people, you just go there and you don't worry. So now I'm going to go there with Kelly, and just before you all start being like, that's a shitty thing to say, it's with love, because I love Kelly and I love how Kelly gets busy. So Kelly, our last New York City moment will be by way of when I lived uptown and she would come and visit for work stuff, and she would stay with me instead of like a hotel or whatever, or maybe just a day or two. Well, this is the funniest damn Instagram rather, ever. So let's take a look at this. So this is first of all, I'm very skinny, so I love that. My flat behind, I'm wearing a Yankee hat, and I'm in a dusty kitchen. Look at that
Notice
dusty
the
ass
date,
kitchen.
2014.
And what's funny is, if you post on the feed now, no one really does that anymore. But at the time, you posting on the feed, because there was no reels or shorts, or not
Mhm.
shorts, whatever they call it. what is it?
Stories.
Stories, yeah.
Yeah.
So posting on the main page was like, the thing. This had to be Kellie breadcrumbing like 1,000% because she's actually, I'm going to let you read it, Kellie. You take it away. I can't believe you.
I said, Ronnie's making me dinner. I love my friend. And I hashtag like, New York City, Harlem, because we were in Harlem. And, but yes, okay. So,
Oh, you're going to
ladies,
explain it? You're
like,
going to try to explain it.
I don't need to. Like, ladies, like, like you've got, if there's someone you kind of want to, that is keeping an eye on you and you want to inadvertently let them know what's going on, that's an easy way to do it without having to necessarily reach out. Then if they want to, they will. But it's kind of like, here's where I'm at. What do you do? Without like doing that?
Okay,
So,
and mind you, I'm not saying Kellie was in a host stage, but I'm going to say a sentence. I'm going to say a sentence. Again, see, this is where we get in trouble because it's like they don't get our bond. I will say it like this. This is what gets me about this whole situation. Not mad, but like it's just like, come on, Ronnie, get it together. I had not been in my host stage at that point. So I, as a moron, did not get the social cues that it wasn't about Ronnie and my friends taking care of me in New York. Feeding me, by the way, do we got to look at that photo again? What the F am I feeding her? The littlest hot dog and bun? It's like, look at the bun that's behind my buns. Like, what is this? If you're checking us out audibly, please go to difficultpodcasters.com or the YouTube channel because this is just breadcrumbing 1000%. But I just find it so funny. And this is not the first time this happened, Kellie, prior to my host stage. Now that I have it's retired now. But when I was in my host stage, I now get the social call. I didn't get the social call. So I'm thinking, what is it? You said 2014. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my friend Kellie is like saying she's so thankful because we're having
I was.
You were, but you were also going to be quick had he responded, or I don't know if he did or didn't. You were so quick.
All I have to say is that it worked.
Was that the Magnum one? No, we can't talk about everything. We got to save shit for the Patreon. We don't have a Patreon, but we're going to have a Patreon.
Okay, but like this, I have to tell this one story because it's really, really crazy. And I want to kind of now I don't know how I attract this kind of energy to myself, but and please, anybody that's had a similar situation. So there's one particular person that post was directed at, and I got the attention that I wanted and whatever. It wasn't like we had a relationship that has spanned years. Like I still actually talk to this person. Like we're still friends. It's not quite the same relationship, but we're still friendly because you know how I love to stay friends with everybody. But I had this one particular girlfriend that at that time I didn't know she was having a relationship with that same person.
Oh no.
Like a friendship. I don't know. We weren't in an exclusive relationship, so whatever. He could do whatever he wanted to do. But she met him at a birthday party of mine in Los Angeles. And
I didn't know we were going to go here.
He had moved to New York, but because it's funny because it ties into that trip. So they become friends, which you can be friends with whoever you want, whatever. He and I like lose touch for a while. We don't talk. And a couple years later is when this happened. And I had, reached out to him and, we got back in touch, hung out, together and whatever. Well, I told her about it and I didn't know she was mad because I didn't know that they were friends. Like I had no idea what was going on, in that space because one, he wasn't my boyfriend. So whatever, that he could do whatever he wanted. But two, she also didn't tell me. So I was telling her that we had this conversation. We hung out. We were really excited to kind of, get back in touch with each other. And we had made plans to see each other again because I was going to be back in the city again, like a few weeks later. Well, unbeknownst to me, she's messaging him and trying to kind of like break up our little reunion. So she's telling him all these like crazy things. He's calling me, getting mad at me. And, he's really genuinely hurt and upset. And I didn't understand what was happening. And while that was happening, my cousin was in the car with me and she's like, I bet you it's that girl. And I was like, how? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So come to find out, like, it ends up that it was her. He starts sending me like screenshots of her messages to him, but she was hardcore and she held her story to the end. She kept saying that it wasn't her, and she doesn't know why he's saying it's her because it's not her. But it was obviously her. I'm seeing screenshots of these messages that I'm sending to her being like, what are you talking about? If you guys had something going on, just tell me. Like, I hadn't talked to him in a couple of years. We just reunited. Like, I have no idea what's happening. But she stuck to her guns. And I remember standing in the middle of the street in New York, and I told her, and this is someone I had been friends with for like 8 years, this girl. We had we'd spent holidays together. Like, I thought we were friends. And she stood in the middle, like I was on the phone with her standing in the middle of the street in New York. And I'm like, are you serious right now? And she still would not tell me the truth. And that was like the last time I talked to her. So that picture like brings that up because it's so crazy.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel really bad for him because he knew she and I were really good friends. And then they became really good friends. So why would he not believe her? And to mess with someone's emotions that way because of whatever's going on with you is just it's really like fucked up and not okay. And I'm glad that he and I were able to kind of like get over that and still be friends. And I actually did tell him I was going to be in New York this last time. He just was out of town. But it's just a sad, it's just crazy. It's crazy the lengths sometimes that people will go when you think that they're your friends. And it's a hard realization when you find out there's ulterior motives or whatever that is. It's just, it's still like, you would think I made that up. Like it's totally like a Spanish novella because that is ridiculous. Like that entirety of that story is utterly ridiculous.
Of all the people to throw salt in that wound, it should not have been her.
Right.
I never, I've known Kelly for 20 years, but like I only met that girl like once, so I'll just leave opinions alone on that. But I definitely feel like it sucks. But I think that was the greatest thing. Like not just this trip, but all the other trips that you came to New York. I mean, we've got stories in Bay Ridge. We will not mention. We also were gallivanting around the city. I remember we saw the originals at I think it was Santo's house. We obviously he was always a big name. All of them are Tony Touch, D Nice. We saw D Nice and well, all the originals there at Santo's house. So like we've had so many really good New York experiences. Sometimes the thought process is, oh, well, we had them when we were in our 20s and 30s. Like, can we still like live it up and have a really good time? But this, I don't know if I'd call it a New York City vacation. I don't know if I'd call it a work trip. I don't know if I would call it just two podcasters getting back together and running amok, but it was really wonderful. And I think it was really valuable for the brand Difficult Podcaster. So I am extremely thankful that it worked out. It was literally organic. It was like, I'm going to New York. So am I. Like, it was kind of like that. Kind of. So
it was definitely spontaneous, and those are my favorite kind of trips. Those are my favorite things, is when the universe just works it out and you can do it. And like I said, I thought it was very, very good for me, for my, my mental health, and to be able to go to a place that I used to go to a lot and have such a different mindset about it. It was so nice to take that in and to be able to be present in a way that I haven't been in a very long time. And
it wakes you up.
It does.
It wakes you up.
It really does. But also bringing it back home and be able to, kind of implement that same mentality where it's just, life is short, and appreciate the people that are around and do the stuff that you want.
I know the slogan is, if you can make it here, you can make it everywhere. I think it should be, if you can make it here, why would you want to make it anywhere else? No, I'm kidding. I'm not trying to be rude. And one last thing, just as kind of a promotion too. The basis of our show, and I've got tons of other podcasts. Kelly had some collaborative ideas she may be doing at some point, so we'll be all over the place in terms of other programming. But Difficult Podcasters was special because we loved the TV show so much, Difficult People. So rest assured that we've got, and I said it earlier, we've got 28 episodes covering, to the best of our ability, Difficult People, this fantastic show with Julie Klausner, Billy Eichner. I guess it's almost cliche to say, but it was way before its time. There's that.
Yeah.
And it really does allow you, when you get to touch down in New York again, so many of their experiences are relatable to how we talk, you and I.
still stands the test of time. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
still very much does. And rewatching our recaps of it too, we sprinkle in different stories and different
Hmm.
things too. So there's a little bit of that. But just if you've never seen that show, I highly recommend, going to Hulu and watching it, because it is just such a fun show to watch, and really seeing it like these characters and how they go, and just kind of the different things they encounter, and really just kind of like finding out what you really want out of it in the end, right? Because
Mm.
it's, do you want this life? Do you want that life? What is it that you want, and why do you cut corners, and why do you put up with the things that you put up with? And it's just and it's in such an exaggerated way, but it's really, really fun.
And our last motivational moment is when, I don't know the exact text message, but one of the things Kelly and I were talking about after, when she left, was something about like your dreams never need to, like, oh, you said, not to give all your business, but I think you said something like, when you're young, everybody says shoot for your dreams, go for it, but when you're an adult, for some reason, like now it's out of the question, or now it's asinine to think that you could want something big and have an ambition.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that was a quote. I think Ethan Hawke said it in an interview.
well, if Ethan Hawke said
And
it now.
I had sent it to you because it's so true that
Mhm.
when you're young, people tell you, you know, live out your dreams and go for it,
Go
no
for it.
matter
Yeah.
how big, no matter how small. And oh, I found it. It says, he said, don't you find it odd that when you're a kid, everyone all over the world encourages you to follow your dreams, but when you're older, somehow they act offended even if you try.
Mm. And tying into Difficult People, the TV show on Hulu, there was a little bit of that. There was a little bit of like, where are we in the space that we still want to be creatives, and we want to write, and we want to, get our foothold into comedy. Yet, I think the line that always tickled me was, everyone we went to school with either gave up and lives in the suburbs and has kids, or they're
Mhm.
highly successful. And it's like, where do we stand? Like, where are the people that are still out there chasing it? And
Mhm.
why at a certain age does that look corny to people? I don't understand. I see this when I watch Drag Race. There's a couple of the older contestants, and like everyone wants to make it like, why should they stop doing drag if that's what they love? But
Right.
people make it like, you get to a certain age, you shouldn't really be pursuing it. Drag is an art form. Comedy is an art form. I think it should always be within you. I would like to say podcasting is an art form. I gotta say, we got to end the episode, Kelly, because I am way too motivational. Like, I am not talking shit. It's funny, in LA where everyone's so fucking glorious, I'm like the asshole, because I guess I don't like subscribe to the bullshit over there. And then in New York, I'm like a princess. I'm just so warm, and I'm so like, my nicer side comes out because I just love this fucking city so much.
Yeah.
And good things have been happening career wise. Good things have been happening. So, any last promotions that you need to do, or do you want people to follow us on all the things?
Definitely check out Difficult Podcasters. Check out our YouTube shorts, our TikTok, all, follow Difficult Podcasters on all the things, because we do a little bit, we do something different on each platform.
Mhm,
So check them out. Get to,
mhm.
you kind of get to know us a little bit more in a more condensed way, because as you can see, we can ramble on forever about anything.
What platform?
So
What platform do I show my butthole? Which was, is that the only?
I
Is that
think
the
you're
only
gonna have
fan?
to look around and see if you can find.
Is that the only
That
fans?
might be randomly Ronnie Jr.'s Patreon again. I don't know.
No, no, no. I told you I'm a princess. No, 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 no. I hope you enjoyed the show. That's all I got, Kelly. I'm going to say goodbye, and I will text you later. Bye.